Hello, my friends. We've got visitors in the shop. Rick and Debbie Smith from Cincinnati. You left there at 4 this morning, right?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
They came straight through and it's not yet 11. That's a long drive. They brought the coolest old mandolin. Now, you might say, well, this looks like the one I have up for auction right now. And it kind of does, but this one's cooler. It's really cooler. First of all, it's got really nice inlay up here. That's the real stuff, it's pearl. It's got, it's pretty much original, but look at that tailpiece. Now, isn't that cool? And as soon as I saw that tailpiece and then the label inside, can you see the label? I don't know if the camera and everything will show that label. That's the older label and that older tailpiece. I knew it was a much older mandolin. And tell them what you think it is.
Go ahead, Debbie.
Oh, the years you looked at that.
We believe it's between 1902 and 1912. From the
I don't doubt it. It looks.
Right.
It really looks like it could be. Now it has had the back repaired, and you can see the backs have been done well. Whoever did it did a really good job. But of course it doesn't quite match the rest of it on the sides and all that, but they did a wonderful job, and they had the back off and they really matched it up really well, so that part's really good. The rest of it, as far as I can tell, it looks real original. The bridge, the pick guard, pretty much everything looks really original. The reason they brought it is that the peg head here is split right down the middle, and it's loose. You can actually feel it flex. And a little bit of the pearl on the Gibson is missing. And we're going to see what we can do about trying to fix all that back up and make it match just as good as possible. In other words, this is also kind of like a ditch through here. It's low in the middle and high on the sides. So we're going to try to flatten that back out and fix that back up for them. It's going to be an interesting restoration if we can do that. And when I say restoration, just the peg head restoration is what I'm talking about. But it's a pretty darn cool old mandolin. I think this is probably the oldest one of this style I've ever seen. So that's pretty cool. Well, I thought I'd just try to play this for you just a little bit before we go into major surgery. So let me turn the camera down here, get it close so that you can hear it better. These old mandolins, they all have their own sound, that's for sure. See what it sounds like on a waltz. Very nice sound to it. It's a little bit sharp on the intonation. In other words, the bridge is just a little bit close that way. And you can see that the bridge has been moved back a little bit, but it needs to come back a little bit more. And the only problem with that is if there's enough of this little pin sticking through the hole here. In other words, there's a pin holding this pick guard on going through the bridge. So when you slide this back, that pin still needs to be long enough to hold the bridge, you know. So these are a little tricky setup, but it's pretty cool. I'm really glad I got to see it and play it here, so hopefully we can fix this part. Well, as I say, there ain't nothing to it except to do it, so let's just loosen these strings up and get started on this. We do need to loosen these strings up anyway so that this peg head has time to relax a little bit, because it is V'd up, like I said. For the people out there that like to look at these old antique instruments, you might notice that these pegs are different shape than most too. In other words, they get skinny around the middle. Most of these old mandolins, their pegs are just straight through, and there's no shape to the peg. So these do actually have a little bit of a shape there, which I think it's the first time I've seen that on one of these old Gibsons. We've got the strings off of it there, and that'll let you look at those pegs just a little bit better. And maybe I'm not going to move this very much because I'm afraid I'll break pearl out, but you can maybe see that that's moving. So it does move. So we definitely want to be careful with this. We're going to take the tuning keys off of it next, because we really need to be able to get to access the whole thing and to do it well. So I'll take the tuning keys off and then I'll show you the next step. Okay, my friends, we've got the tuning keys off here, and I've noticed that it's fairly easy to spread this. It's not very difficult to spread it at all. I have this blue towel down here in case a piece of pearl would happen to pop out. But anyway, I'm going to spread this just a little bit and put just a small wedge in here. And the reason I'm doing that is to open it up. As you can see there, it's just open just enough that I can get glue in here, and you know, I'm just going to use Titebond Original, and as long as we can get the glue squeezed in there really well, this will never break again. I mean, absolutely convinced that I've never had a single joint break with Titebond Original, and I've been doing this for 40 years, and I've not had one failure. So I don't expect this to be the first. All right, so what I'm going to do, you know, a lot of people talk about syringes and all that, but I just use the pressure of the bottle to squeeze it down in there. It'll get down in there if you just take your time, and we'll get a brush, and we'll, even if we have to, we'll take air and blow it through there. We'll get it down in there one way or the other. I'm not too worried about it though. It usually goes in without any real issue. I like to use a brush. I feel like a brush does the best job of getting stuff down in there. The little fibers can get down in the crack pretty darn far, and it usually gets it through there. You can see that it's penetrating. See, it's already all the way through. In fact, I can see it back this far. So we're good. We're good on the front end of it. We just got to get some more back here on the back end. And we could try a suction cup, but I'm not a big fan of those darn suction cups either. Had a little piece of wood that came out right here, and I'm trying to get it back in place, and I think it's turned around on me, I think. Part of my problem. Nope, I don't think so. I don't know. It doesn't quite match the hole like the hole looks. There it is. We got it. And there's a piece of pearl right up here that's trying to come loose on me, and I'm really watching that. But I think we're good. I really do. You can see here now that it's squeezing it out, and it's squeezing it out even all the way back to here, so we're good. Even if we just got the front end of this, I trust this Titebond to hold it. I swear I do. I don't think it'll be a problem. But we've got a pretty darn good amount of glue in there. Here's another little ebony chip that fell out. Don't know where that came from, but we'll figure it out and put it back in later. Let me get some water and we'll clean this up. Okay, so we're going to clean this up now. This is a real wet towel. I'm doing everything very soft or gingerly because there's just little flakes trying to come out of here everywhere. So I'm
I'm going to take plastic there, and that'll keep it from the glue sticking to anything. The reason I wanted to use regular Titebond also, by the way, is that if the glue does squeeze out on top of here, we can wash it off later. It'll actually wash off. It just takes a little bit of effort. Where if you use the Titebond 3 or one of the waterproof glues, you'd have a tough time getting it off. I'm just making up my mind how I want to clamp this and which clamps I want to use. I think I'm going to go with this. These have rubber pads on them. Yep, I can feel that side moving up already. We'll do the other side, and then we're going to have to get a clamp across it to close it better. Okay, that'll keep it flat. Now we need something on the ends here to close it a little bit better. So I've got this little bar clamp here, this little Menards clamp, and it's squeezing together just enough. I'm going to loosen these just a little bit, just take a little pressure off of them, just so that this clamp can squeeze the peg head a little bit tighter. All right, now I'll put this one back on. Just wanting to make sure we've got it as tight as we can get it. We've got it as flat as we can get it already, so we're in pretty good shape. That's pretty good. That looks real good. And let's see if we can do something on the front here and see if it looks like it needs any special help. I think we're fine. My only reservation about this repair is that they were telling me that the fellow that they had fixed the back had put epoxy in here. Yeah, that kind of made me cringe, but there's no way to get in there and try to clean that out if that was true, if he actually did put epoxy in there. It doesn't look like it to me, but you never know. But I still think the Titebond will probably hold it just fine. You can take a little, something like this little wedge that I'm using, you can get into tight places like that and get the glue out. So it looks pretty good. That's about as good as it can be done right now. Now we just got to give it time to percolate. It's only been about an hour and 45 minutes, maybe 2 hours. I'm not really sure when we actually glued this up. But I'm going to go ahead and take the clamps off because time is precious right now. And I want to work on this inlay and see if we can't make the pieces that are missing on the inlay. In fact, I think I will just go ahead and leave that clamped up like this. I don't think that clamp will get in my way. I think the glue's set up well enough that I could take the other clamp off too, but I'm just going to leave it on there for now. And then, let's see, I'll see if I can set it up like this to get it up a little flatter where I can inspect this inlay and see if there's some way I can patch this inlay back in there. So I'm taking these little dental tools and I'm cleaning out the cavity where the glue has squeezed out in there and stuff. And I'm probably going to have to even find something smaller than that, like this little needle. Clean it out with that, probably. Yep, that's better. There's a lot of glue, and I'm just lifting it up off there. Some of that glue is brand new from the, and I'm just, before it gets hard and stuff, I'm trying to lift it off of there. It's a tedious deal, and I don't think you can really see what I'm doing anyway. I'll try zooming you in just a little bit more, and unfortunately I don't think the camera is going to focus when I zoom it in. Anyway, I'm just looking through the microscope, cleaning up the glue and stuff. And the other problem is keeping it under here. Keeps walking away on me. Wow. Mostly just trying to get rid of the glue right now. There's quite a bit of cavity there to fill. Quite honestly, we may just fill that with filler, a lot of it, and just dye it black, because that's probably the best we can do on some of this. There's a lot of glue there, more than I would have thought. All right, I think I've got it cleaned out fairly well. So I think I'm going to go ahead and get some pearl and see if we can't start putting a piece or two of the pearl back in there. Boy, that's going to be fun, because it's tiny. I've never tried to do this way before, and it might be the last time I ever try it. I'm not really sure. I'm going to see if I can just hand draw this under the microscope to the shape that it needs to be. I don't know if I can or not. This pencil lead 0.5 millimeter seems gigantic under here. I really thought it would be tiny, but it's gigantic under here. Well, I'm going to try cutting that out. I don't know. Well, I'm going to give it a shot. I kind of don't expect much good to come out of this, but I'm going to give it a try. You just don't know till you know. Boy, I don't even know where to start, hardly. I think I'll try cutting out the inside of it first. The problem is I can't hold it, it's so small. Try holding it down with this little piece of wood. And to get my mask on, that stuff throws out dust. Okay, I made a piece, but will it look like the piece that it's supposed to look like? That's a different story. Probably not yet. I'll probably have to do quite a bit of filing and miscellaneous. But I'm going to see if it'll even look like it could work first. It covers enough area that it potentially could work. But there's a lot that's going to have to change. Wow, it's going to be tough. And the problem is it's so small now, how do you manipulate it? I've got it cleaned off here, and I'm going to try to draw on it. And it's not going to be easy. I'm going to have to get it down here and do some serious filing. This is not going to be simple. I don't know if I got enough room to hold it and file it. It's going to be tough. I'm going to go back here and see how it looks on this part now. And I don't expect it to look that good, but I got to start somewhere. Well, we're in the rough ballpark, and that's about all I can say about it. I think I'm just going to turn the camera off because it's just going to take forever. And you can't really see what I'm doing too much, so I'll just show you what it looks like when I get the piece made, if I get it made. Well, I hope you can see that I've got the bottom of the S on Gibson inlaid in there. I don't have it glued yet, but it's really looking pretty darn good under the microscope. Is it perfect? Nope, it's pretty close. But, you know, I'm tempted to try just a teeny tiny bit more filing. You know how that goes. You get it pretty close, and then you kind of wish you'd just left it alone. But I'm gonna go ahead and file it just a little bit more. You're talking, this is so tiny. It's much tinier than it looks. Look how tiny that is. It's just tiny. And you're trying to hold that and file it and everything. And yeah, it's, well, all I can tell you is it ain't easy. It just ain't easy. I think that's going to be it. I did a pretty good little job there on that, and I think that'll satisfy me better. It'll look like it matches better. And that's if I can get it back down in the hole and without it fighting me too much. It just doesn't want to go. That's pretty darn good right there. I'm trying to clean the hole out where this will go down in there deeper. It's a little thicker than the inlay that's there. And again, I don't know if I should just quit while I'm ahead or keep trying. And right now I'm still trying. Of course, the goal is to make it look like it never happened, but the problem is the pearl that's in there is white, but the finish over the top of it is yellow. So the pearl I'm putting back in there is white. I don't have any good yellow pearl that I can put in there that would make it match better. So I'm going to have to color it slightly after I'm done to make it match. But I think I'm done. I really think on that piece, I think I'm done. The other piece is going to be much harder. The H up there is really bad, and it's going to be much harder. Yep, that's perfect. I'm going to call that just as good as it can be done. I'm going to see if I can get some CA glue on that. And put a very light mist of stuff on there to make it set up, so that we don't drop it out of there and lose it. So there's what she looks like. That's the S on the word Gibson. Now it's still standing up a little bit tall, so I'll have to get in there with some real fine, some kind of sanding and knock it down. But otherwise, it's pretty much as good as it gets. I don't know if I can tackle that H right now or not. I don't know if I have the time, but I'm going to give it a shot. If I can get the H done, we're done. But boy, the H is way more complicated. I may have to put it in, and actually the T's missing a tiny, tiny piece also. Oh, yeah, well, actually the T and the A, yeah, I don't know. Wow, very difficult. But we got one, so I guess we can do more. As tiny as this piece is to make that H, it's just huge under the microscope compared to the other. So I don't know what to do about that. It just looks terrible. And I can't hardly hold it to make it any smaller. It's just, my gosh, I can't believe how much bigger it looks than it should look. I'm going to have to do something about it. I got to make it smaller. It's really hard to do. I can't hardly hold it is my problem. I could make it smaller if I could hold it, but I can't hold it. I don't know, at some point I'm just going to have to maybe cut my losses and just go with it, because I can't hold it. It's just too small to hold.
Well, my friends, I did a lot of this work off camera, but I think you can see up close that it's pretty much restored. You know, keep in mind this was split all the way down and glue went all the way through the peg head. And the bottom of the S was missing on Gibson, and the bottom and the leg of the H, the long leg of the H was missing. I filled it back in the best I could according to the hole and slots that were there. There's still a little tiny bit of inlay missing, but man, it would just take so much time and effort to fix any more of it that I think it looks good enough. It looks so pretty much original as it is. I antiqued it with the amber shellac to make all the lettering look about the same. Then the extra cracks that were there, I filled them with just plain old wood filler. I did that with Timbermate. And then I dyed it black, and then I put clear shellac over all that, and then after it dried, and I dried it with a heat gun and everything to make sure it was good and dry, and then after that, then I just took very fine steel wool and just kind of buffed it a little bit to kind of make it blend in with the old finish, and it really blended in super well. It did so good, it's almost hard to tell there was a problem there now. Oh, you can see it. Depending on the direction you turn it, you can see it, obviously. But it now looks like a well cared for old mandolin versus, a completely refinished like this. And I don't like to go for this look. I prefer to go for the well cared for old look. So that's what I always try to achieve.
My friends, I have to make apologies. We had guests here at that time, of course, and this was one of those jobs where I fix it while they wait type deal. And, one thing led to another. We got sidetracked. So I just forgot to put an ending on this video. So my apologies for that, but it did turn out just fine. We strung it up and, it held for a day and a half there before they left. It was all good. I don't think there's going to be any further problem with it. I just wanted to let you know that it turned out just fine, but unfortunately, I didn't have an ending for the video. So thank you so much for watching. If you're not yet a subscriber, please do this subscription thing. And you can even click that bell icon for further notification. Always give us a thumbs up. Thank you so much.